answer we were looking for was Eddie Kingston.
Okay.
That's a good one, right? It's a good
Yeah.
one. All right, next one. They're going to get harder. This one is, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name.
So I'm guessing that's not Nick Jackson.
No.
Let's see. Nothing again. This is horrible.
You're failing, Craig. The
I am.
answer is Evil Uno. Here we go. Next one.
Ben Satterley. Is that Orange Cassidy?
No, it is actually Pac.
Thunder Rosa. It's
It
not
is
her.
actually Ruby Soho.
Okay.
Well, at least you got to guess it. You got to guess it.
Scorpio Sky.
It is Brody King.
Yeah.
And the last one, Dustin Lee Howard.
Jeez.
You're gonna start paying attention now to all of these like people's names.
Yeah, I've never paid attention for some reason. Yeah, I got nothing.
The answer we're looking for here is Chuck Taylor. All right, so curious, how did you guys in the chat do? Go ahead and let me know. Are these harder than you thought? Easier than you thought? I'm curious to see what your scores were. But we do got one more game, so Craig and I will be back in the next video. See you guys.
Observer Live, Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Apparently we weren't working for the old YouTubers a second ago. But Twitch, everything worked great on Twitch. That's why you should subscribe to the Twitch feed, twitch.tv/F4W Video. Use your Amazon Prime account. Sign up free. You can sign up free with Amazon Prime to our Twitch channel, and you get special things every now and then when we have pay-per-views. The pay-per-view post-show is live on Twitch for our subscribers, so you should check that out. And we got a lot to get into here today. Yesterday, we were talking about Ric Flair's final match. They did announce it at 6:05 Eastern. They did an angle where old Ric Flair was in the parking lot, and old Jay Lethal got awfully mad at him because he's been helping him get ready for this match. He's been training him, and he didn't even get a spot on the card. And Jay Lethal was so angry that he punched Ric Flair in his surgically repaired gut, which is what Flair screamed, by the way. My surgically repaired gut! I think it was those exact words, but it was something like that. And he goes down. And then up walks Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett in all white. Probably see where this is going. And he goes to help Ric Flair. But then, Ric Flair he doesn't really want this help. So Jeff Jarrett turns on Ric Flair. And he takes Karen's shoe and he busts open Rick, and Rick's bleeding all over the place, and blood's all over Karen's dress. And the match is on. It is Ric Flair with plantar fasciitis in his foot, I might add, against Andrade with inflammation in his ankle. So we got a story here against Jeff Jarrett, the special referee at SummerSlam for the Street Profits match with the Usos, and his partner Jay Lethal. So that's going to be Ric Flair's final match. And as noted yesterday, you'll be able to check it out. RicFlairsLastMatch.com has all the details. It's a big weekend. The Roast of Ric Flair, Friday night, July 29th. Panels with Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Horseman Reunion. Bret Hart's there talking SummerSlam 92. I just did a cameo the other day. Speaking of plugs, F4W Online on Cameo. And the guy was in the audience at SummerSlam 92. And that's like such a legendary show now that it was like I was doing a cameo for a celebrity. That guy was in the crowd, SummerSlam 92. Got Sunday panels with the former Page, Foley, Nash, the Hardys, part of StarCast 5. You can get tickets to Ric Flair's last match. Nashville Municipal Auditorium, $39 Tickets available at RicFlairsLastMatch.com. There's matches from NWA, MLW, AAA, Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, AEW, and I guess now WWE, since Jeff Jarrett is going to be part of the main event with Ric Flair. So check it out, FIGHT.tv, pay-per-view on cable, satellite, RicFlairsLastMatch.com. You excited for this show, Mike? Or are you worried?
That, my friends, was an ad. That's what that was. And I am actually a little bit excited because when you look at the undercard, that's a really good undercard. That is a really good, whatever you want to say about Ric Flair having a last match. If you said, okay, well, here's a dream card taking place on the Indies and you put together that show, that's pretty cool. So, no complaints out of me when it comes to the lineup. When it comes to the match itself, I never needed to see Ric Flair back in the ring again. I had no interest in actually really seeing Ric Flair do anything at all. But if he is going to do something, he's got his son-in-law. He's got the guy who he trusts without a shadow of a doubt because he's been training him nonstop with Jay Lethal. And you have an unbelievable old professional in Jeff Jarrett who can do exactly what Ric Flair wants him to do. So, I mean, what can you really say? We don't have to worry about Sting flying. Could Sting be there? Sure. But you don't have to worry about him flying off of something onto Ric Flair. You don't have to worry about any of this sort of stuff when it comes to the guys who are going to be in that match. So, the best of luck to Flair because he's obviously banged up going into this thing. He's 77 with a pacemaker. But God bless him. And Dave said it, too, on the Wrestling Observer radio show. I'm a big fan of Jim Crockett Promotions and the history of it. And David Crockett never really got to have a goodbye. And when he got the trademark back for Jim Crockett Promotions, I mean, I can't do anything but celebrate that for him. So anything that takes place that helps the Crockett Foundation or helps him, I think that's a cool thing that's a part of this, too. As far as the match itself goes, yeah, I could have lived without it, but hey, it's another part of a big weekend.
In-ring return for Kenny Omega reportedly being targeted for All Out. Fightful reported the news Tuesday, following up on a Dave Meltzer note during a recent Observer Radio that a third meeting between FTR and the Young Bucks is being held off due to a major angle that is yet to begin. I think I told everybody that I would not be holding my breath for the Young Bucks to win the tag titles back to do that match with FTR, because I don't think it's going to happen. Tentative plans are that Omega would team with the Bucks in a trios match at the September pay-per-view. Opponents were not mentioned. Speculation it could be against Adam Cole and Red Dragon. Not independently confirmed the report as of this writing. Omega, who is rehabbing following several surgeries, told Fightful in a June interview his original return date was Forbidden Door. He didn't want to return too soon. Out of action since last November, Full Gear, when he lost the AEW World title to Hangman. Well, I have also heard that there are plans in the works for the return of Kenny Omega. Don't know what the plan is, but listen, I have no idea what the plan is, okay? But it says here that speculation is that he would team with the Young Bucks in a trios match, okay? Bro, that may very well be what's going on here, okay? It may. But maybe it's not, because, they plant a lot of seeds, especially these Young Bucks, okay? And if you've been watching Being the Elite, they keep doing this this story where the Young Bucks want to call Hangman. They want to text Hangman. And they're always about to, but then they just can't send the text, okay? Well, I could not help but notice that on Wednesday, when the Dark Order showed up during that Hangman interview, Hangman had been on the phone. He was texting. And then he got, I better put my phone away. Well, who was he texting? Well, I don't think it's out of the possibility he was texting Kenny Omega. And you could do Kenny Omega and Hangman versus the Bucks. There's a lot of ways you could go with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page. They got a long-term storyline here. So, there had also been talk that they weren't going to introduce the trios titles until Kenny Omega was back. And so maybe Kenny Omega is coming back to team with the Bucks to go after the trios titles. I don't know what's going on. But something's going on with Hangman texting. So I guess we'll see where this goes. But it will be good to have Kenny Omega back on AEW.
And do you think AEW fans are going to want to boo Kenny Omega when he comes back? I'm not saying that it's impossible to do, because all you got to do is break out Don Callis. And I mean, there are very few people as unlikable on the planet as Don Callis. I mean, in every possible conceivable way, just a awful human being, bereft of really any positives whatsoever. But I think you should bring Kenny Omega back as a babyface. And even if the long-term goal is to put him back on the top of the heel side, I think it's going to be really difficult for people to boo him. It's kind of like Jon Moxley. And again, I don't think it's impossible, but I think a reunion with, forget about the Young Bucks, but just Hangman Page, and having them kind of try to figure things out as we go along with Adam Cole and the Elite and all that sort of stuff that still needs to be worked out intergroup there. You know, him coming back as a babyface would probably be the way I would go.
We also have NXT 2.0 tonight. What a segue that was. We got JD McDonough versus Cameron Grimes, Josh Briggs, and the Virgin Brooks Jensen. Remember when he had that Virginity Rocks shirt on?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to the zoo the other day, and I saw someone else with that same sweatshirt. I've now seen it in the wild.
Did you point at him and scream,
No, but
Jensen?
I did try to explain this to my wife, and she was like, his gimmick is he's a virgin? I was like, yeah. Anyway, they're facing Pretty Deadly for the NXT UK Tag Team titles. Roderick Strong versus Damon Kemp. The in-ring debut. He's never been in the ring in NXT before.
Who?
Axiom, who of course is A-Kid, who has been in the ring. Von Wagner Solo Sikoa confrontation. The worst name in wrestling, the Schism, will reveal their identities. And here's the women for the Battle Royal. Ulyssa Leone, Sloane Jacobs, Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley. I got to wait till after the break. I can't do these names now. I'll do them after the break. These are all real names of people in NXT. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
When I was in my early stages of my fights with Cody, there was a moment where on the stage I gave Cody a knee. He fell down, and I told him that this was no longer his house, but it was the House of Black. And then fans, because the camera audio was on when I said it, fans started chanting House of Black. And at that point, it kind of got me thinking. And then later on, it was a hashtag on Twitter. Though I am clearly not the biggest social media lights in the world, it caught my attention. And I started thinking, and I always had ideas, because even this installment of what is the House of Black is something that I did over 13, 14 years ago. With similar stables, with like the Sumerian Death Squad and stuff like that. But now doing it with all the expertise that I have, all the knowledge that I have, with the experience that I've gained over the course of those added 14 years on top of what I was already wrestling, and the success that I had back then, which is ironically the thing that got me noticed to move towards the United States, etc. I think in this installment, I think it makes a lot of sense to have a guy like Brody King and someone as Buddy Matthews. They have always been intertwined with me somehow, some way. And I presented the idea to Tony and said, look, this thing kind of grew wings. And if we were to make this an actual existing faction, an actually existing thing, what do you think about Brody King? What do you think about Buddy Matthews? And he was sold on the idea literally instantly. Julia was an idea that sprung up on us as one of the stories was unfolding, and this thought process that we had that certain elements that I do changes people or influences people, and whether or not that is supernatural, I always let people decide, because I, for the most part, actually don't do anything that I would describe as supernatural. I think a lot of what I do or present is psychological, because I find that much more terrifying. The human mind is a terrifying thing, implemented incorrectly, especially. And so we started kind of like messing with this idea of having someone, how do I explain this without giving it away? Having someone thinking that they were influenced because they wanted to get away from something versus actually being influenced, and then in our own way, kind of like, I wouldn't say exploiting that, but using that. And slowly we're moving forward. She definitely has her, she has her homework, and she definitely has to, earn her keep in that regard. And she's working hard, and we keep her on her toes.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live, Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. And, here's the 20 women that will be participating in the NXT Battle Royal tonight, where the winner will get a shot at the Women's Championship held by Mandy Rose. We have got Yulissa Leone, Sloane Jacobs, Lash Led. I can't do it.
No, you have to.
No, I don't. You know why I don't have to? You know why?
Why?
Because I've got Fauntleroy. He's agreed to read these legitimate, real names in this 20-woman battle royal coming up tonight on NXT. Let's do it, little fella. The floor is yours.
Yulissa Leone, Sloane Jacobs, Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley, Tiffany Stratton, The Elektra Lopez, Ariana Grace, Valentina Feroz, Kiana James, Saray, Wendy Chu, Amari Miller, Fallon Henley, Indy Hartwell, Cora Jade, Alba Fire, Nikita Lyons, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and Ivy Nile.
His brain short-circuited at one point as he was reading those. Like, he couldn't even get past... Where did he get stuck?
Did he say V?
I think he got stuck after, Indy Hartwell.
These names are foreign to Fauntleroy.
Yulissa Leone, Sloane Jacobs.
Sloane Jacobs.
Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley, Tiffany Stratton, Elektra Lopez, Ariana Grace.
Who?
Valentina Feroz, Kiana James, Sarai, Wendy Chu, Amari Miller, Fallon Henley, Indy Hartwell, Cora Jade, Alba Fire, also known as Elbow Fire, Nikita Lyons, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and Ivy Nile.
They brought Saray back for this, but wouldn't bring over Mako Satomura? Come on.
You want Mako Satomura in this battle royal?
Yes, because I want her just to go in and kick and punch and chop everyone out of the ring with Saray, and then just beat up everybody else in the crowd, in the back, the announcers, everybody. Just beat up everybody, tear everything down, and be done with this.
Well, that's not going to happen, Mike.
I know.
But luckily for you, I'll be here tomorrow to review this show. Turns out I'm probably here Thursday as well to review the show. Lucky you. Plans change.
Really?
So,
really? What's that about?
Well, we're just not leaving yet, so that's what that's about. We have also got SummerSlam coming up, and we got it's still another week of build for this show. We have got Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, last man standing. Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's title. Bianca versus Becky for the Raw Women's title. Seth Rollins versus Riddle, Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin, Bobby Lashley versus Theory for the U.S. title. You guys remember that was for the U.S. title? We talked about this yesterday. Everyone forgot. We've got the Usos versus the Street Profits for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles.
How happy are you that Becky is now out of her Barbarella?
She's not. Did you watch the show? She had another preposterous outfit last night.
That was preposterous.
She's got a new one every week.
Some sense, at least.
It made sense. What made sense about it, Mike?
That was, compared to what she usually wears, that was downright conservative compared to what she usually has on. I actually thought she looked like a normal human being.
A normal human being. So if I went to the mall, I'd see someone that was wearing what Becky was wearing.
Well,
we don't have malls like that around here.
In the universe of WWE. I'm not talking about going into a mall and picking up something at Hot Topic or something like that. No. Where do you still go to the mall, Brian? Do you really?
I do all sorts of things, dude.
Do you?
I live a very wild life. SmackDown, 2.077 million viewers on Fox, down 2% from the previous week. Smallest audience since June 10th. Fourth straight week of viewership decline. Vince is going to need another scandal to help boost them ratings. 0.47 in 18 to 49. Fyter Fest Rampage version, 435,000 viewers, which was up very slightly in viewership, but back down to a 0.14 in 18 to 49. Not good. 11th on cable, which I guess at least it was in the top, 11. But still, we talked about this show. Something needs to change. So those are the numbers. What's on you guys' mind? I'm going to save Raw for the next segment.
Which means we got 6 minutes and about 10 seconds to
I
fill,
could fill
folks.
6 minutes with anything.
Did you see what I just sent over to you?
Oh, yeah. Why don't you read those?
Okay,
you want me to do it? I'm not sure you can read. You want me to do it?
Sure. I went to public school. Go ahead.
So did I. Okay. We got bet online _AG. Was that supposed to be a dot?
I don't know. I believe so.
Yeah,
I don't bet online.
Probably a good thing I read it then.
All
so
right.
these are the odds for Ric Flair's last match. The match itself, Ric Flair and Andrade are favorites, minus 2,000, plus 700 for Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. So, Ric Flair might want to put over a young star on the way out like Jeff Jarrett, so it's possible they could win. But, yeah. Then we've got first to bleed. And incredibly, Jeff Jarrett is the favorite as the first to bleed, not Ric Flair. I find that very hard to believe.
Well,
which Ric Flair move will be performed first? The options, and I think this is his entire repertoire, which ironically is also my entire repertoire: chop, elbow drop, leg drop, body slam, figure four, and suplex.
wait a second. You've never delivered a leg drop?
Oh, yeah, I have. I used to
blow out a hip?
No, I did the Bret Hart one where you do the snap leg drop. But anyway, odds are he will do a chop first. Minus 110. So if you think that perhaps he'll open the match with a figure four, you could. That's plus 500.
Or
perhaps his first. Actually, the question is, when has Ric Flair ever done a leg drop?
I know.
I don't ever remember Ric Flair doing a leg drop in his career.
Well, maybe they mean the rolling knee because he's always been.
He did the knee drop, which I also stole from him.
Did you pull down the knee pad so it was on the shin before you did it?
Nah, I did that for a while actually, but I kept hurting my knee. Because when your knee pad's on your shin and you fall on your knee, it hurts your knee. I don't know if you know that or not.
It's physics.
Yeah. Ric Flair's robe color. Here are the options: gold, red, blue, white, purple, black, pink, and green. For some reason, Ric Flair coming out in a green robe is plus 2,500.
Well,
so I don't know what's going on with this. They think it's more likely he'll come out with a pink robe than a green robe.
I don't know. I like that plus 300 for the Carolina blue thing, so maybe go with that.
Gold robe is plus 150.
Yeah. I think it's a good bet.
And then, and this one I actually have a hard time believing. This can't be true. Let me repeat the match for everybody. It is Ric Flair and Andrade versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Okay? Will a guitar be broken in the match? No is the favorite. What? Who wants to make some money with me? You can do a Jeff Jarrett match and no guitars are going to be broken? That's the favorite. That's minus 110. No guitars will be broken. Yes, a guitar will be broken. It's plus 150.
I'm throwing money on that right now.
People are just baffled in the chat.
That's got to be okay. They're seeing what money gets brought in on that one. We could see a changing of that line very quickly.
We have to. Make your money now, everybody, because that's ridiculous.
I'm surprised the eye poke was not actually on the repertoire of moves here from Ric Flair, because how can you get to the figure four without at least an eye poke?
You can do a chop block.
I guess.
Clearly.
You ever see Ric Flair start a match with a chop block? I've seen him start it with an eye poke.
Well, well, I've never seen him do a leg drop ever, so I highly doubt he's starting the match with a leg drop.
I wonder if Tommy Young is going to be outside the ring.
Perhaps.
I wonder who the referee is going to be. You really want to show me that WWE
maybe Jeff Jarrett
is okay with this? I want Charles Robinson to be the referee.
It actually, if anybody, it should be Charles Robinson, but I'm not sure they're going to pull that off. Let's see. I was told that Becky Lynch was wearing one of those things that a mom carries their baby in front of them with, but she unstrapped it and took the baby out. So a front pack. Okay. I'd have to look at it again. I have multiple front packs, so I should know one when I see it.
What's your swaddle game like?
I could swaddle. I got a good question here. How would you even start with a leg drop? Does the other guy just lay down?
Yeah. And well, Jeff Jarrett's got a history of doing that. He's done it at least once or twice, right? So that is completely within the realm of possibility. Now, I would think Ric Flair would drop the knee first, but that's not an option that we're given here as part of this.
Well, I guess it is a tag, so like Andrade could slam Jarrett, and then Flair tags in and hits a leg drop.
That's true.
Could do that.
That's true.
Maybe I should put my money on that leg drop. Nope. Back in a minute with the Raw. Observer Live.
Is none other than Craig Perofer. What's up, Craig?
Hey, how are you?
So this is round 2 of these games that we are doing on here. The last one didn't go too well, but you know what? I have hope for you, Craig. I have hope, and I think you'll get this next one. Now, I haven't told you what the game is.
No.
Are you ready, though?
As ready as I'm going to get.
Okay, so here's the game. This time, I have scrambled up words for you. And you have to tell me what the word is. The category that you will be getting here today is celebrities who have appeared in wrestling in general.
John.
You got the first part. It is John.
Okay. Waters? No, that's not right.
10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer that we were looking for was Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart.
Almost there.
All right.
Here we go. Next one.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes, the answer is Cyndi Lauper. You got it. Congratulations. Which celebrity is this?
Oh, jeez. Floyd Mayweather.
And you are correct, my friend. The answer is Floyd Mayweather. Who is this?
That's Pee Wee Herman.
Yes, Pee Wee Herman it is. Congratulations. And the next one. The clock is winding down. Craig is thinking really hard right now. The answer we were looking for here was Pamela Anderson.
You know, as a younger man, I probably would have gotten that.
Who was this celebrity?
Betty White.
Yes, you got it. Betty White is the answer. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we will be back once again to play some more games. So we'll see you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live. Friendly reminder, in case you haven't already, head on over to F4W Online on YouTube. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Click that subscribe button for tons and tons of shows that you can catch on a daily over at F4W Online on YouTube.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Before we get into Raw, I want to make a quick plug here. Jim Valley's got a new shirt, and it's because of you fans. You can check it out, f4wonline.com/shirts. Do you know we have a lot of cool shirts? We got the most popular shirt of all time, which just happens to be my shirt. Which one was that again? I already forgot.
Chop and roll?
Nah, it was...
-5 stars?
-5 stars, that's right.
Aye.
Yeah. We'll see if Jim can beat -5 stars. Hey, if you want a -5 star shirt, or an Observer shirt, F4W, Vinny shirt, or Jim Valley's, f4wonline.com/shirts. We're even thinking of producer Dom getting a shirt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Put it next to Granny's?
Yeah, Granny's does well, too, I heard.
Uh-huh.
All right.
What's a producer Dom shirt going to say? What's the tagline for that? Brian, I've hit the dumb button because you cursed again? I don't know if that's going to fit on a shirt,
best
Brian.
Producer ever. Dom. It'll be Dom in the airwaves.
Actually,
with producer
make sure,
Dom.
Make sure that shirt comes to fruition here, and then we'll send a ton of them over to Rob.
Oh, you're such a horrible person sometimes. So the show opened up. Hey, did you hear about Titus O'Neil?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I love Titus O'Neil, but man, this poor guy had to come out and talk about WWE and how they needed goodwill more than ever now.
It
was their
space.
job to put smiles on faces. They'd never talk about politics or religion, except when there's an important angle that involves politics or religion. Remember when God wrestled? Maybe it was a different, maybe it was a non-religious God I was unaware of. But anyway, he welcomed everybody to Raw, and that was quite the segment. Then we had Becky coming down to the ring. You know what's so funny about this? I don't even care. Remember they had that poll? It's like, who has better storytelling, WWE or AEW? Well, the story is that Becky lost 100 matches in a row, okay? And she was just down to the bottom of the barrel. She won one match, and now she's headlining SummerSlam against the winner of Bianca and Carmella. So anyway, they have the match. There was an argument and everything beforehand, but it wasn't all that exciting. So they have the match. They go 10 minutes. It's not very good. And then finally, Carmella slaps Bianca, and Bianca's like, oh, yeah? And she gets mad, grabs her, hits her move, and pins her. It's like, well, what did we waste 10 minutes for if it was that easy? All you had to do was get mad and hit your move. So she did, and now it is Bianca versus Becky coming up at SummerSlam. We had Angelo Dawkins and Street Profits, Montez are all excited about Jeff Jarrett. And MVP and Omos show up. MVP makes fun of Dawkins for losing to Omos last week, and he wants them to do a singles match later on tonight, which unfortunately was accepted. We had the KO show, and this is more great storytelling. So Kevin Owens is out there. He introduces Riddle. He says, you're a laid-back sort of fella. And he goes, you know, you lost your best friend, Randy, and I lost my best friend, Seth Rollins. He said horrible things about me. For those of you who forget, Seth called him fat. He actually, there was another part of it, and Kevin got very upset about that. They're not friends anymore. So Kevin said, you know what would be cool is you lost your friend, I lost mine. Why don't we team up together? Bro KO for Kevin Owens. Bro KO. And Matt Riddle says, listen, I don't trust you. And so Kevin Owens says, rightly, dude, you teamed up with Randy Orton. Nobody in the history of WWE has turned on, which is a lie, by the way, because it's a big show, but no one has turned on more people. No one is less trustworthy than Randy Orton. Now, this is a true statement, okay? He's had 20 years of screwing people over. But this makes Riddle angry. And so Riddle gets really mad, and then Seth flies in and blindsides him and gives him a stomp. So I don't know if Owens and Seth are friends again. That was not made clear because Kevin Owens just vanished. But that's going to lead to SummerSlam.
Well, and then, Brian, that is subjective. That is subjective. If you are Matt Riddle, you are saying to yourself, no, Randy has not turned on me, Kevin Owens. Meanwhile, you are sitting here begging for a friend. I've got a friend, and his name is Randy. So That is not true. That Kevin Owens is less trustworthy or more trustworthy than Randy Orton is.
We're talking about history, dude. In the history of this business, Randy Orton has turned on more people than Kevin Owens because he's been around for 20 years. He's had more people to turn on. It's math. So then Rollins is getting interviewed, and Ezekiel is angry at him for beating up Riddle. So Ezekiel shows up. They argue back and forth. This also leads to a match. Judgment Day, they vow that Dominic will join Judgment Day tonight. This leads to Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. 1 week before Rey's 20th anniversary celebration on Raw, he goes in there, a 5-minute match, he gets beat clean in the middle. So then they start beating him up afterwards. They're going to give him the concerto. They say, Dominic, if you don't get in here, if you don't join the Judgment Day right now, we're gonna take out your dad. So Dominic agrees to join. But then, after he agrees to join, they say, it don't work like that. And they start beating him up. And then they go to give the concerto, but Rey flees. So they're teasing that next week, it's Rey and Dominic versus Judgment Day. And Judgment Day says they're going to finish. They said they're going to finish off the Mysterios once and for all. Which, when you think about it, you know where this is going. Dominic is joining this, and thus they will finish off the Mysterios once and for all.
They're all chumps. Everybody involved in this is a chump. And yeah, that's the direction I guess that they're going ahead with. But like, Dominic's a chump, Rey's a chump, Damian Priest, who just self-destructed after having the, Intercontinental title for how long without being beat, he's a chump. Finn Balor lost himself into this position by being embarrassed and flopping around like a fish and then falling off the ropes and then losing to Edge, and then all of a sudden now he replaces Edge. And come on. The only good, smart person in any of this right now is, what's her name? Because she's out and hurt and whatever it is, getting her face fixed.
Rhea
Ripley. That's the only person that's benefiting from any of this right now, because she's not there. Is Damian Priest any better off than where he was before? And Damian Priest, a guy who's got years on him, a guy who looks good in a suit and is tall and had everything going for him, now this is where you're at, because this is going to make him a better WWE superstar. Come on.
Bro, he could be in Maximum Male Models. So I would say he's doing just fine right now with Finn Balor. And next week with Young Dom. Then the Rated R Superstar can return. Team with Rey Mysterio. You got tag matches. There's a lot worse things that could happen.
He could be in Maximum Male Models.
Yeah. He could be. He's doing better now than if he were doing the summer collection this coming Friday. Trust me. Seth Rollins faced Ezekiel. It honestly wasn't all that good. It was all right. Curb stomp finish was not the worst thing on the show, because that was coming up later. We have a bunch of other stuff. Angelo Dawkins and Omos. They have a horrible match. It goes 1:20, and then first Montez Ford tried to trip Omos. Then MVP tripped Dawkins, and the ref saw him and called for the disqualification. So Dawkins beats Omos via DQ. The fans groaned, loud groans, like, my God. So then Adam Pearce comes out, and you know what he says? He goes, I think the fans here want to see the Street Profits versus MVP and Omos. I don't think he was right, but that's what he said. Then he goes, don't say we don't give you what you want, and he signs the match. I was like, wow, that was quite the line. Don't say we don't give you what you want. We're going to give you this match. So they give us this match, the Street Profits versus Omos and MVP in a full 3-piece suit. You'll never guess the finish. Montez Ford, who is challenging for the World Tag Team titles at SummerSlam, hits the biggest frog splash you've ever seen on Omos, and Omos kicks out at 1. So we have to do the close-up of Ford for about 5 minutes, showing his shocked face. And then finally, he decides to go up and try again. Because if at first you don't succeed, he goes up top, and he gets attacked by the Usos for the DQ. So they did a DQ to set up a second match that went to a DQ. So then, hey guys, like this theory? Well, if you do, have I got the show for you. Theory comes out, and he talks, 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 and the fans go, what? 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 So he got heat, but it's a bunch of what chants. So this brings out AJ. He makes fun of AJ for being old, and of course he's young. And this leads to a match. And, listen. Bro, this guy, dude. They want this guy to be their next John Cena, okay? Fine. You're pushing him to the moon. You're giving him a lot of talking time. But, brother, when he gets in that ring, he's got to be able to do something. You know, one of the reasons that fans turned on John Cena when he got that spot in 2005, you want to know one of the reasons they turned on that guy? Well, they turned on him because you had the SmackDown 6 and your Jerichos and your Eddies and your Benoits and all these great workers, and they pushed John Cena to the top, who wasn't a very good worker. Well, bro, this Theory goes in there and has the most boring he had the most boring match on Friday with Madcap Moss, who's a great athlete. And he had an equally boring match here with AJ. You know how hard it is to have a boring match with AJ Styles? Dude, he gets the heat and he puts him in a chin lock. And it's a chin lock. And it's a chin lock. And AJ escapes and he puts him back in a chin lock. And a chin lock. AJ escapes, he takes him down, puts him in an arm bar. And he holds the arm bar. I'm like, dude, yeah, this worked great for Baron Corbin when he was going in there having boring matches every week because he thought it was a great way to get heat. Well, now, it turned out fans decided he was boring, and then he wasn't a main eventer anymore. So, dude, you got to let this guy do some stuff. These matches are killing me. And then they go to a count out. A count out. After Ziggler super kicks him outside. I'm losing it. Asuka, Alexa, and Dana versus Tamina, Doudrop, and Nikki Ash. Dave argued this. Maybe he's right, but I don't believe it. They said that the 24/7 rule is waived when the champions are having a match. Well, 24/7 champions in the match. Tozawa runs in. Tozawa pins Dana. Nikki pins Tozawa. Bliss pins Nikki. Doudrop pins Bliss. Tamina pins Doudrop. Brooke pins Tamina. Brooke then runs away from a 6-man, and then Asuka gets the win. 2 minutes and 35 seconds for 7 title changes. Then we finally had the main event. Miz TV with Logan Paul. You guys like Logan Paul? Well, no one else does. He's booed unmercifully. They boo him. They cheer the Miz. He's trying so hard to be a babyface. He fails the entire time. Finally, he gets his one line in that Miz has tiny balls. He gets a tiny balls chant. Miz ends up attacking him. He beats him up. Ciampa tries to attack him. He clears the ring of both guys, bails. Still can't get cheered. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Bandido, man. That guy has the look. He has the character. He has the persona. Man, he can go in the ring. I was in there a little bit in the ring with him in AAA, Mexico, Monterrey. Another great wrestler too. ¿Cómo se llama? Vikingo.
Of course.
Hijo de Vikingo. Oh man, he beat me well. For the AAA title, but it was a great scramble. It was so many people. Jay Lethal, Bobby Fish was there, Bandido, Vikingo. It's great. It was a great high flying action and hard hitting too. So that's one guy I right away say from off bat, like Bandido, man. Vikingo, he's done so many moves that I'm like, wow, okay, he's taking things to another level. So it's great. And it's pretty cool too, because he man, when he did one of my moves where I do a springboard to the second rope to the outside, that I inspired him to oh man, that's great, dude. That you're inspiring me now. So you're making me better too. Let's all let's make each other like better. Let's do this, motivate each other. So I like his motivation, his passion, and man, he has a lot of potential. Vikingo. Another guy too that I have a lot of history with him, and this history that was never made, but it went well for him and it went well for me. And it was supposed to be a mask versus mask, Pentagon Junior versus Octagon Junior, and it never happened. Why? Because I got picked up from WWE, and he kept the character and look at him now, like right now his character, and like besides him being a great wrestler, his character right now is like really well known everywhere. I was traveling so much, and my last tour was in Russia, Moscow, and WWE was there at the same time, and I was the first luchador to be displayed in Russia, and it's pretty cool because they made a big deal. They had like a whole building with my banner and my face. It was pretty cool. I'm like, wow, we've never had a luchador, a Mexican luchador here. So they were so excited. I'm like, oh, okay. And like, well, we're gonna get you good food, good American food. I'm like, all right, cool. So right next door they had a McDonald's. I'm like, oh man,
Wait, is that what they gave you?
Yeah, I have so many stories. So I'm like, and I was telling her, I'm like, man, I'm thinking I haven't eaten McDonald's in years. I'm like, I mean, they gave me two big large fries and Big Macs and chicken nuggets and everything. I'm like, oh man, like, all right, I couldn't communicate with anybody, no English or Spanish, anybody. I'm like, so I had no other choice. I ate the burgers, and not bad.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but I seem to recall, I know for sure, NXT taped 3 weeks of shows, and those shows were, like, way better than usual. And then when they went live again, we started to have a bunch of bad matches, and everything was botched. So it was, like, clear that the taped was the reason. Am I wrong that, like, Raw and SmackDown, Raw is still way too long, but I seem to think that, like, a month or so ago, these shows were fine. Like, I'm not going to say they were great shows, but they were fine. And man, like this past week, and I think last week as well, is this because of Vince's stress over all this stuff that's going on? Is this why these shows are like this? Because they seem to have fallen off the rails over the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, but hasn't there been a lot more talking and a lot less wrestling in that time, too?
Well, yeah,
Remember
they've changed something.
Yeah, we were getting that run of longer matches, but they've jerked back and forth with that philosophy. And when you go with more talking and you have less stars and you have more filler and you have more of the same over and over again, I mean, what else are you going to get out of it except for what we're getting on Raw and on SmackDown?
Listen, I know people here are laughing when I said Vince being stressed, but bro, listen, the guy doesn't sell anything, but don't think that he's not stressed out about this thing, because this is a potentially really big deal. So he ain't going to show it, and he's going to act like a crazy person. He's going to go out there and scream. I can't even say the profanity scream when he went through the position after he did those interviews out there after this all went down. But he's sweating, but he won't let you see him sweat like that old commercial, that old deodorant commercial. Yeah, it is business as usual, but he's sweating. He ain't going to sell it, though. That's the point. Anyway. We're out of time. Raw did me in. Good thing I waited till the last segment. I'll be back later today with Lance. Check my Twitter to find out when. May have to change the timing, but that's coming up a little bit later on today. Bryan Alvarez Show tonight with Granny and Craig. And we'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.